Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Doing Business in Bentonville. My name is Andy Wilson. I'm the Executive Director. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very, very excited about our podcast today, and you are going to love the content that we're about to discuss with you. So let's just get straight into it this morning. My guest is Phil Shellhammer. Phil, welcome today.
Thank you, Andy.
It is so good to have you, man. And I just met you recently in person at an event. And so thank you for agreeing to come in before we even met. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It's good. Well, you're going to love what Phil does. And Phil is a Senior Director of Business at the Greenhouse. Well, okay. What is the Greenhouse?
Sure.
Let's just get into that, okay?
Sure. So, well, let's start with the broader. I work for the University of Arkansas, and the University of Arkansas has an Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And so within that, we have a variety of different programs that we've created. A couple of years ago, the university stepped up into Bentonville and said we wanted to be closer to the action that's happening up there, created something called the Collaborative. And within the Collaborative is a space we call the Greenhouse. The Greenhouse is nothing more than a location designed to help incubate business. How are we going to help startups get going?
Wonderful. And, you're right. And, we're so fortunate to have the University of Arkansas here in our area, Northwest Arkansas, and all the wonderful work that comes out of that great university, not only just students, but like you said, what you do and all the work you and your team does. And I think what we should do for a moment is before we get into all of our topics today and our subject matters, let's build out, and I'd like for you to build out a bit all the stuff that you work with inside of that. If you have time this morning in the businesses, and I know you work a lot with Walmart. I know you work a lot with the Innovation Center there and so many others. So let's set the stage, and then we've got some exciting things to get into. But
very good.
Continue to build that out.
Sure. So the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the university is designed to help anybody creating something new. Whether it be new products, new solutions, definitely new businesses, right? A couple of years ago when I was hired to run something called the Greenhouse Outdoor Recreation Program. We call it GORP because it's way easier to say. GORP is an incubator for early stage startups. The idea is we knew a lot of people were building new businesses, specifically in outdoor recreation, and we wanted to help these businesses get from 0 to 1, from idea to launch. How do we help them get off the ground? So that's what I was hired initially to do. Now, what's happened since then is GORP has been running really well, and we've had some really great cohorts of companies come through. We can talk about that. But my role has continued to expand because we continue to want to help entrepreneurs in the community in a variety of different categories. And so my role is called business incubation. It's everything around how are we getting businesses started, not just in outdoor recreation, but we're helping in medical devices. We're doing some very early stage work with hospital groups around here around new medical device solutions, new IP creation, and we're about to start a new accelerator with Cartwheel Studio in town here called the Balance Accelerator, which is really about digital transformation,
right.
AI, Web3 space.
Right.
So we're starting to touch multiple industries as we think about how, again, to start at the early stage of how do I build a business from idea to launch.
I love that idea. And the event that you and I both were in attendance the other night was around the Cartwheel and the organization Cartwheel, and you had entrepreneurs there, investors there. People were talking about the supply chain logistics piece and the ideas these entrepreneurs had around technology.
Yes,
and I love your idea. I love what you said. Idea to launch.
Yeah.
Now that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I oftentimes will add it. I almost problem to launch because most people come into me with an idea.
Yeah.
Most people here's my prototype.
Yeah.
Here's something new I want to build, and we almost always walk them back to, great, what's the problem you're actually trying to solve?
Oh, got it.
Because what we find is most businesses fail if they don't define and know the problem they're solving, or if they're not actually solving a problem.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time on problem.
Right.
Then we get to, is it the right idea, and how do you build the business model behind it?
Okay, all you entrepreneurs up there, I know that listening, that are watching, hang on, because you're going to how do I get a hold of Phil? What do I know, slow down, because I'll tell you, you already have all those ideas, and then and you're like, who do I need to talk to? Well, you got the guy sitting in front of you that can definitely work you through that process. Okay, one of the things that as I have looked at Can you share like just a story of an item or an idea to launch? Can you give us just an example of that?
Yeah.
As we dig deeper down into all the stuff you do.
One of my favorite stories is, so I've been doing this about 2 years now, right? And the way we support entrepreneurs in the outdoor rec space is we basically say, a la carte services, we're going to help you at any point in time. Just come and set up time with me and I'll figure out how to network you into the right people or give you some support or figure out how we can help in some way. And then twice a year, we run this more intense incubator. It's a 12-week program where companies apply to get into it. And when they go through that, we give them a ton of training. We give them mentorship, a free student from the university as an intern, and then up to $15,000 in non-dilutive seed funding. So we give them money too, right? So this company comes to me, actually, these two founders come to me with their idea. They're like, I got an idea for you. Here's what we want to do, Phil. And I won't go too much into their idea, but their first version of their idea was actually kind of weak, right? And they know this now. So they hear me say this, they're not going to feel bad. But they started off with this thought process. They're like, they were passionate about the river. They were passionate about river sports and floating the river and going to the Buffalo and the Kings. And they loved this experience. And they felt like there's got to be some way they can connect what they're doing with people who love the same experience. And so their first idea, they came to me, they applied to the cohort, and they said, this is what we want to do. And I hand them the first tools I give to almost every entrepreneur. I said, start here. Go talk to some people. Fill out this form and go talk to some people. Let's really get into what we call customer discovery. Let's understand the real problem you're trying to solve. And they came back almost immediately. They're like, oh, there isn't a problem here. This doesn't fit the problem at all. So they started doing research. And they come to some of our workshops, and I kind of see them around town, and then they disappear. And actually, to be honest with you, I lose some people. It's like sometimes I give them some work and then they just kind of disappear. And I'm like, oh man, I miss those guys. Those guys were great, but they must have gone off and did something else. 6 months later, they walk into the greenhouse and they schedule time with me. Like, Phil, we want to show you what we've been working on. And they put up a presentation and they've included me in the presentation. So like my picture's in there. It was really quite strange. And so they're like, this is the solution we want to create. Because we talked to the people you asked us to. We went and talked to people on the river. We figured out what their biggest problems were. And they went from a solution that was just not going to add any value to the world to creating what was now going to be what they call Paddle. And Paddle is a digital app that is designed to help anybody experience the river in a better way. I call it the All Trails for river sports.
Yeah, the All Trails.
Right?
Yeah, no,
so
I use the All Trails. Absolutely.
Awesome app, right?
Yeah.
So there's no great solutions out there to help people experience river and water sports like All Trails does for walking trails.
Yeah.
That's what they're building. And so they came, they showed this piece off. They've done a ton of work. So we allowed them into the cohort. And for the last 12 weeks, I've been working with them as they've been building out this idea. We've got them connections in the industry. They had great mentorship this time. And they are definitely on their path of building the first version of what this app's going to be.
Wow. You know, I can't imagine. I'm imagining that because I love to float the Buffalo. I love to get out there. So beautiful. We're so fortunate to have that in our area. And on All Trails, as a cyclist, I use it. You know, even especially mountain biking and things like that, when in areas I don't know. And it's a great app, and so good job, All Trails. But I can't wait about the Paddle. I love the name, by the way.
Yeah, the name. They're very creative. They're just great. They're great marketers. Now they've got to build some tech capabilities. They're not pure programmers by any means. But the first version of where they're going will start to solve the biggest problems that we're using, like Facebook and some, U.S. website that's not very easy to read around what the water flow looks like. They're going to piece all that data together into something that's meaningful for people and easy to use. And that's really the tool that will help people go experience the river better.
You know, not only is that going to give great information, but it's also, I can see a safety factor too there, especially like you just mentioned about the river. That's one of the things you got to know. You got to know that. Well, you need to know that before you get into that kayak or whatever. Absolutely. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah. It's fun.
Okay. Now,
I got like 25 other ones.
I know. Okay. All of you are going like, okay, I just want to spend time and let Phil tell me stories. And so we'll make that happen. Hopefully we'll make that happen. Now let's talk about, I know there's been some exciting news about a recent, I'm going to call it a grant, if you will. Yep. So tell us the name of that. Let's get into that because I know this is big news.
It is.
So share that with us.
So GORP's been rolling pretty well. We're pretty happy with how the program's working. It's on a 3-year grant that runs out this next June. But as we've been talking through the opportunities here, one of the things that I was able to get on about 6-9 months ago, the governor selected a group of people to join the Natural State Initiative.
Right.
Natural State Initiative is a council of people from around the state. I think there's 17 of us that are recommending to the state government as a whole, here's how to better drive economic development out of our outdoor recreation assets. Right. So we've been working on this for a while. And one of the things the early stage did was create 4 opportunity zones around the state. These are 4 state parks that the state wants to put more energy around, give better tax incentives for people to build new outdoor recreation experiences within these state parks.
Right.
Yeah.
I've read about this.
Yeah.
I've read about this, and because I'm very interested in the state parks, because I love to camp and hike and do all that, mountain bike, and so this is good.
I can't.
Hey, hang on, because there's a lot of outdoor people listening to this and watching this morning.
It's really about driving, great, unique experiences in outdoor recreation around our state. Right. So many people come to us already. We're the natural state for sure, and there's a ton of people from other states around us that come in here to experience it. Not just about cycling in Northwest Arkansas. There's amazing duck hunting. We have world-class fly fishing. We have just these amazing experiences all around the state.
Correct.
So we want to continue to plus that up. So we create these 4 opportunity zones. We've been sitting around with Gorp saying, geez, how can we help more people around our state create new businesses? And so we took the thought process, the opportunity zones, and the United States Economic Development Administration, it's called the EDA, put out this grant early this summer that says we'll call for proposals, right? And the proposals were around what's called build to scale. Said, if you have a good idea that's helping support entrepreneurs, we want to help scale that up. We want to help grow that. And so pitch the idea and show us what it is. It's much more formal than a pitch, but we put together this whole proposal of what we could do if the EDA would help us fund GORP across the state. How can we take GORP and move it around the state to these opportunity zones where we believe there will be entrepreneurs that need to build stuff, right? If there's a new opportunity for a mountain bike experience in a different town in Arkansas, right? But the town doesn't have any cycling shop, any bike car, right? Anything cycling related in the town. Well, you're going to need that support structure all around it, right?
That's right.
And those entrepreneurs are going to come from the local community.
Right.
We're going to see opportunities to build for our new tourism that's coming in, for new people who want to come experiences. That's what we pitched last Thursday. So we learned that we were accepted in this program.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. So the EDA is going to provide $1.2 million. That is matched with $1 million from the state of Arkansas that's also funded this piece. And so that $2.2 million over 3 years is going to allow us to take GORP and roll it to our rural communities around these state parks within the state.
Okay, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that our governor's really focused on this outdoor space and this focus, because I know we're going to. They had recently announced next year a bike ride across the state, and it's a gravel ride, and it's a really hard ride because there's some really steep, big mountains in eastern Arkansas that you're going to have to climb.
No doubt. Yep.
I'm very interested in that, by the way, because I love to gravel ride, and in fact, I'm gravel riding tonight with a group because it's so much fun and dangerous a little bit at night. But anyway, that brings the thrill to it. So let's think about this for a minute. Can you name the 4 state parks or areas?
I think I can do it right. So Queen Hillamina State Park, close to Mena, Arkansas.
Right, South Arkansas.
Pettigene, which is close to Morrilton.
Right.
Pinnacle Mountain, which is close to Little Rock there.
Right.
And then the 4th one is the Delta Heritage Trail, which is over near West Helena. That's a rather long trail down.
Yeah, definitely it is. Yep. Those are 4 great parks. I've been to all of those parks. They're great. Now, what you and your team are going to do is really add so much value to those states. Yep. And is there a timeline? How does that work? I know you're very early in the stage because it just got approved and announced.
Yep. So it just got announced, but literally the timeline starts now. So I was just on a call on Monday. I learned how to spend this money. So I'm trying to figure it out. But luckily the university has an amazing team of people that help us kind of figure out how to use these grants.
Yeah.
But literally we can start right now. So the first thing I'm doing is trying to hire a program manager because we're going to need somebody to run that for us. And the funding helps pay for that. So we'll hire somebody. And then immediately we're going down into these areas and saying, we have local partners. So we don't have to, we're not, what was really important to us early on was we didn't want to be Northwest Arkansas coming to the rest of the state and saying, this is how we do it. You should do it like us, right? So instead what we did, we partnered with local institutions, 3 of them universities. So UA Rich Mountain, UA Morrilton, UA Little Rock, and then in the West Helen area, we're working with a group called Thrive Inc. Each one of those are our local partners, feet on the street, people who know the community down there well. And we're going to work with each one of those individually and start to build out what the programming is going to look like. We get the straw man of how GORP works, and so we'll probably copy a lot of those pieces. But we want to make sure it's relevant and worthwhile for their individual communities. And we are starting that work literally this month.
Okay. All right. You heard that. Just announces new news. Thank you. And thank you for all your work on that. And I know you and your team, it took a lot of work.
It did.
To get that done. Yep. So congratulations on that. Now, what other things are you working on that are we're not going to get into the future yet, but some of the things you're currently working on that I know you were sharing with me about this law project. I found that very interesting.
Yeah. One of the great things we were able to add into this grant for the EDA was an ability to support entrepreneurs from a legal standpoint. One of the biggest challenges we find with entrepreneurship support is early stage, especially. There's a lot of legal need and support necessary, right? You've got to help. We take a night every time during our GORP cohort and just bring a couple of our local lawyers into town and ask them, just answer questions for us for a couple hours because there's so many questions that people have. And although they can't give law advice during that piece, they're there to help them think through IP and how do I form my company? Is it a C Corp? Is it S Corp? What's LLC? All those different pieces at the early stage that most of our entrepreneurs don't know. And the truth of the matter is legal support is rather expensive, right?
Yes.
And so at the early stage, if I don't have any money and I'm trying to build this and I need to make sure I don't, put myself at risk or my family at risk, I need that legal support. A woman named Rachel Sullivan used to be on our team. And Rachel was a law student at the U of A, and she was super passionate about this problem. So she wanted to solve it. And she worked with the law school to create just a one-day kind of proof of concept. And the law project was born out of this idea that we can take legal representation and support pro bono from around the community. We can add it to like 3L, like law students that have gone through most of their law schooling training, and then provide that legal support to entrepreneurs who need the help. And so we just made it an application. People could apply to come into that one day, and they joined, and they saw the benefits very quickly of being able to have someone across the table from them, help them through what are my early legal challenges? Wow. How do I form this company? How do I get the right documents together? We're a partnership. What's that mean? Those kind of pieces.
Wow.
We saw this need. Rachel was able to put together that one piece, and then we saw, wow, this was so needed in our community. We need to build this out. And so as part of the EDA grant, we've asked for funding to build this piece out. Now, this funding isn't just for outdoor recreation, right? We're going to obviously support the outdoor recreation companies that are around our state that are going through the GORP program. But the goal here is that we can use this as a launching pad for support of all of our entrepreneurs, from our small businesses to our scalable businesses and everywhere in between. How do we help these entrepreneurs at the early stage of needing that legal support? And the law school is going to be awesome in helping with that.
Wow. That is such a need. You're right. I mean, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I have a lot of friends are, and that is their big question. They have, like you said, the ideas and they have all the passion behind it and all that. But then, but first you got to walk through all these hurdles around the legal side.
Absolutely.
That is brilliant that you added that and now have that available.
Yeah, I mean, still, we got to build it out, right?
Yeah. So once you get
we're going to have,
oh wow,
and we cannot wait because if you talk to any of the entrepreneurship support organizations around here, this will be top 3 on their list for sure of what everyone around here needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting news. I don't know how you sleep because I would just be so excited to get up to go get this going, and I know it's probably hard for you, but because I know. One of the things I've learned about you, being around you a couple of times now, you're very passionate about what you do. So we talked about build a scale.
Yep.
All right, now, and the law project. What else would you like to share?
Well, so I think the different pieces we're doing are fascinating. I love the outdoor rec stuff. That's what I was originally hired for. I love working with the companies. We've had over 200 different ideas come across my desk in the last 2 years of people who are building something. And we've had people apply to the cohort from Vermont to LA. We're getting some national exposure now, and people are interested in how do I get a part of this? Yeah. It's face-to-face, so it's pretty hard for somebody in Vermont just to come here for 12 weeks. Mm-hmm. But we've helped a lot in outdoor recreation. But what I get super excited about is my realm of responsibility continues to grow because we have these great opportunities to help support as a university and as the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation to help support innovation throughout our whole community. One of the ones I briefly touched on before is a program called Biodesign. We are at the early stage of helping some of our hospital groups. We partner with our hospital groups like Children's and Washington Regional, Community Clinic, Highlands Oncology. We partnered with these groups and said, we want to help solve the problems that your practitioners are having. What's the biggest challenge you have in the operating room today? What's the problem? What's the device that never seems to work right? Or what's the issue that takes 3 people to do, which really only need 1 person because right? What are the biggest challenges? We hear those challenges. We call them brainstorming sessions. We go through brainstorming with them. We figure out the biggest challenges. And then we take students from the university and help them either research those challenges. Are there products out there? Is there IP that's been created that actually has solved this problem already? And sometimes we find the hospital group just didn't know this device was already out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they know the devices. They know which ones aren't working. And so what we do next is what we call design sprints. We take students then and allow them to create new medical devices. Wow. And we're on I'm not going to get my numbers right now. I should have wrote this one down. But we've filed 3 or 4 patent applications already. Another 10 or 11 that have been, it's the beginning of our patent process, which is basically an invention disclosure at the university. And we're going through the process of creating new medical devices that hopefully either get licensed out for people who can manufacture it, or that we may actually start teams out of the university that are actually going to go build these medical devices. Right? That's something that it's at the early stage, but these students are getting amazing experiences. And at the same time, we're creating something that was never there before.
Right.
And to me, that early stage of creating something different that may actually impact somebody's life someday, that may actually make it easier to create a surgery or to help somebody who's going through cancer, like that doesn't get a lot of press, but it's super exciting to see us at that early stage be able to do
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Well, and it's, and what you're doing, it's such great work. And it's, like you said, it's helping save lives. It's so important, and that you're involved in that. Wow, there's so many things that questions I have about and things, but we'll have to figure this out. I think I don't usually say this at this point of our time, but I think you got to come back and bring some people with you, and we just got to bring 2 or 3 people with you, man, and we'll just get into this.
That'd be great.
But anyway, okay, let's talk about the future for a moment, because one of the things that where you and I were at this event recently, there's a group of entrepreneurs, investors there, and they're talking about the future, talking about retail, talking about supply chain, and you're very involved in those type of ideas and startups and those kind of. So talk about, we're very focused here at doing business in Bentonville on retail, supply chain, on omni-channel, how all this works. So talk about some of that.
Sure.
And you can even talk about what you said the other night, because I thought it was really good.
Yeah. All right. So we have these different verticals. One of the verticals that we were focused on was digital. We call it digital transformation. How do we think about what's happening in the digital space, and how Northwest Arkansas and the state of Arkansas as a whole can get more involved in supporting it? And so these conversations started a while ago as we were trying to figure out, is it Web3? Is it AI? Where do you play in, and how can we represent? Well, if you didn't know, the University of Arkansas is one of the great thinkers within the Web3 space. We have the Blockchain Center of Excellence. We have one of our Dr. Goforth, I can't remember her title, but one of our law school professors who is absolutely a thought leader within the Web3 space. So we started down that path, okay, Web3, blockchain, AI, should we be playing this space? And we got into a conversation with Cartwheel Studio. Cartwheel Studio is this amazing studio in town. It's building up entrepreneurs. Again, early stage. The studio model is fascinating. You can Google it, but learn more about studio model. It's a great way to start businesses.
I agree.
And Josh and the team at Cartwheel, we got together with them and said, we want to do something in digital transformation. We've been passionate about the meeting we were at the other week was Embark. And so this organization around Embark is really about how do we think about the retail value chain as a whole? Because this is a place where, and this is a terrible statement, but we have a right to win, right? If you think about Do we have a right to win in, medical devices? Maybe is a little bit trickier for Northwest Arkansas. We don't have the manufacturing and the companies around here. Right. But boy, in the retail supply chain, right, this may be the best place ever to build something in retail supply chain.
Yeah, but there's people that don't know, of course, at Walmart, but
yes.
J.B. Hunt.
Yes.
And then there are other companies close, they're in that supply chain business.
Yeah.
But in this area, Arkansas.
We have a variety of different, but then even go further to CPG, right? I mean, all the suppliers that are around, there's no bigger collection. I don't know the stat here for sure, but it seems like there's no bigger collection of multinational CPG companies in one location in the world than in Bentonville.
Yeah, over 3,000 easy. It's probably more than that now.
So you've got all these companies that are all focused on the same thought process of how do you sell in an omni-channel world, right? All sitting right here in this little, 2-county Northwest Arkansas with 600,000 people, right? So we know this is a place that can focus on it. We know we have the best thought leaders in the world here. Mm-hmm. And if there are companies that are building in this space, that are thinking about how does AI support omnichannel in the future? Mm-hmm. How does a blockchain world fit with a Walmart world? Right? If there's companies thinking about that, then we have the ability to create what we call an accelerator to help those companies grow. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've created. It's called the Bounds Accelerator. The applications are open. By the time this comes out, the application will be closed. Yeah. So we've taken applications for companies that are building in these spaces, that are working on solutions that will be relevant to, our large companies here in town and all of the relevant suppliers that sell into them. And our hope is that we can take these experts in a mentorship program. We can take programming that provides training. We can take different support mechanisms to surround, even like our intern program. We'll take interns from the university and put them as part of the program too, to help these organizations, confirm their business models. But these are a little further along. So they're beyond confirming model. They're now looking at who's our next customer or what's the right solution for this next customer. So they're creating real solutions within this space.
I love the fact. That's fascinating. And one of the things I love the fact, though, is that you're involving students into this at a very early stage.
Super important.
What an education.
Yeah.
The students are so fortunate to be able to lean in and be part of what you're talking about at the very ground floor and learn, and who knows what these students are going to do and where they're going to go and how it's going to impact their lives because they're part of this, what you're talking about.
That's right.
And that's one of the most exciting things of building the future leaders in Arkansas and beyond.
No question. The Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation says we create, foundational support and transformational experiences, right? We are not about lecture-based training. We are about giving the experience of a student to come in and try something. Wow. There's no safer place to build a business. You want to try and build a business? Do it in undergrad.
Yes.
Right? We've got all the tools necessary. Everybody in the world will help you because you're a student, and you can build something. But even if you don't go build a business, you can learn from programs like the McMillan Innovation Studio. You can learn from programs like this Venture Intern program. You get these experiences of what it's like to build that maybe will train you how to build something today, or it may just train you to be a better merchant at Walmart.
Exactly.
And taking these skills and applying them to the corporate world will be as equally valuable or even more so than the kind of the traditional training that maybe a university provides.
Well, I'm not only am I so excited about what you're sharing, but I have a personal commitment here, of course, to my years at Walmart and my passion for retail, supply chain, omnichannel, all of that. And I've got a young grandson, and I may be talking to him a bit about retail and supply chain. I could be impacting him a little bit. And one of these days, when he gets old enough, I want to introduce him to you. Awesome. When he gets, but I know, but that's what we have here, and what you and your team, University of Arkansas, and how you're so involved throughout the state, and then, like you said, all the impact is coming around the world here. Yeah. I mean, Bentonville is it really is a global city, and Northwest Arkansas really is a global impact of what's happening around the world. And the space continues to grow, doesn't it? Not just retail any longer, or not just supply chain any longer. It's so broad now.
I've been here since 2009. I spent 10 years at Walmart, and when you'd ask people the first 5-6 years I was here, why'd they come here? It was always because of Walmart. Right. You ask people nowadays, it's not that doesn't stop. People are still coming here to work for Walmart. But there's so many more people coming here for other reasons. Right. Of course, the cycling, right? You have a ton of people coming here working remotely because it's an amazing cycling experience. but all these other companies that are coming in either out of outdoor recreation, new digital solutions, or even some of the new, air mobility space. Like there's a variety of people coming into this area because they see it as a place to grow and to build because of the resources that are here, because of the great life experiences that are here, because of the opportunities that a university and large corporations and all this entrepreneurship support can provide.
Right. Wonderful.
It's an exciting time to be in this space.
I don't want to wrap up this conversation, but I know everyone's really busy, and we'll appreciate people watching, listening so far. Now, before we wrap it, though, anything, we've been talking about the future the whole time, but is any additional futuristic things out there that you want to share?
Oh, man. Well, let's go back to GORP, right? So this all started with GORP. So we've got the current program, which is run, and that grant runs out this coming June. So we're figuring out like what the next version of that looks like, or how to continue that forward. That's important to us.
Yes.
We've got the GORP around the state, which is going to take that same programming and wrap it around, which is awesome. But really, I kind of think of myself as the early stage of helping people want to move here and building a hub of activity around outdoor recreation. And so although we're helping build brand new companies, most of the people building within our current incubator, they have day jobs too, right? What we want to try and do next is we want to try and attract companies that are a little further along, more in the accelerator model, right? And so the next phase for GORP is to really think about how do we create programming that will attract companies. They've already quit their day job. They're already getting $10,000 revenue or $50,000 revenue, but they need to grow to $500,000, right? And there's these accelerator programs that are designed to do that. There's not many programs like this for outdoor recreation in the country. And so we see that not only as a way to help build these companies at that stage, get them the growth engine they want to be, connect them to the industry experts that we have in our mentorship, or provide them opportunities to sell to a new customer. But we see that as an opportunity to actually drive some growth in our community of companies and building out more companies that want to move here. And so we kind of see ourselves as economic developers as well, as we're thinking about how do we create that next phase of support for the entrepreneurs that are a little further along.
Wow. Okay. Phil Shellhammer, what a great conversation.
Thank you.
Man, I'll tell you, you have piqued our interest. And I mentioned earlier, but I want you to come back and bring some of your team members with you. Bring some students. I don't care. Bring students. That'd be great. Have some students sitting here with us, and they can share about what they're getting, what they're experiencing. That would be phenomenal. But you have to come back, because I'm going to follow you. I'm going to watch what you're doing. I'm going to be very involved in it, and because what the work you and the University of Arkansas and your team members are doing. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for investing in this state and beyond, and the people in this state.
We have an amazing team at the UA, and it's been great to be a part of it. Like I'm relatively new there. I've only been here 2 years, but boy, you can just see the potential of how we can support even more.
Well, you have a passion for it. It definitely comes through. You have the knowledge and expertise to help lead and drive all these initiatives and push it all the way down, and ultimately for the consumer. Or the person and that's enjoying our state, they're gonna be able to do it even better and safer, and all the things you're working on. So, Phil, thank you for being here. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay, all right, everyone. Thank you. I said it was going to be great. Well, there it is, and as we said, we're just getting into it. And we'll make sure that you know how to reach Phil and his team, and we'll have that on our website. And go to our website. It's dbbnwa.com, and that's where not only will you see all the videos, but tons of articles all about retail, omni-channel, our community. So check our website out, and don't forget you can watch or listen to us on your favorite streaming channel, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and of course on our website. Thank you again, Phil. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to you coming back.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day.